going on, fam? How is everybody doing? Sorry for the late start. I had a problem. All of a sudden, the technology wouldn't download the MP4s, and I need some of the MP4s over here. So I had to do that. So apologies, fam. We're going to get right to it. Please just hit that like button for me. Please hit the subscribe for me. I would appreciate it if you would do that. That is absolutely necessary. If you could hit that for me, that would be wonderful. Just hit the like. If you haven't subscribed, hit the subscribe button and we just in there. That's just what we do. Now, that right there, that's what you up against. Right there. We're going to talk about it, but that's what you up against. The pattern that you up against. We're going to talk about pattern matches. I tried to put something in the thing that said American greed or something. You can't do nothing around here no more. Boy, I tell you, they done changed everything. You can't do nothing. But we're going to get right to the nitty and the gritty, fam. Just make sure you hit that like button for me so we can just keep it moving. All that good stuff is wonderful. We're not bothered by anything or anyone. So I just want to get right down to it because, you know, fam, listen, sometimes, this is not all the time, but sometimes we tend to believe things are a way that they are not because that is presented to us that way. So sometimes you don't need, a lot of times you need a history book. We talked about learning history and learning the things we need to learn to do what we need to do. But sometimes, sometimes, let me get a little bit of that fan over here. It's trying to go over there. I need it over here. Sometimes you get stuff that you need outside of the book. Well, what is Yvette mumbling and bumbling about? Fam, there is some racial conversation. I don't know what you want to call it. But if y'all have not been watching the Elizabeth Holmes conversation, please go watch it if you really want to understand. A lot of people want to talk, but they don't understand nothing. If you really want to understand what's going on in America, please sit yourself down, have yourself a cup of tea of whatever your libation is that you have it now. Right? Whatever your libation is, go have it. And I want you to pull this thing right here up. And I want you to look into her. Now, I want to show you some of the stuff because we're going to get through it because I know we got started late because we got technical problems. But I'm going to go through some of the stuff that she is alleged to have done. But I'm going to come back to something. I want you to understand right now what I'm coming back to. Before I leave, I want you to know where I'm coming back to. I'm coming back to the people. There are women who are saying, even given what she's done or alleged to have done, that this is a bias against women. And guess what? In terms of, you're not even in this now. We're not here. You ain't talking about ADOS, black people. And guess what? I believe them. Now we're going to talk about how if that is true, how that impacts us. Like if this is true, we got a long way to go. So let's go into what she is, what they're saying. Just a little bit, and we're going to get into it because if she is being treated this way and she up on charges, like they say, she up on charges. Now, if she is up on charges as a white woman, I want you to cast what it thinks about you in terms of doing black business. Because a lot of people who talk about black business do not do black business do not do any kind of business at a complex level. They do basic stuff that they call business, which is basically the crowdfunding or selling something on a baseline level to help you do something, right? So they don't operate at a high level in terms of business, so they don't understand business. They don't understand my little drawing back here. Okay, but let's get to a little bit of what's being said about Ms. Holmes. She faces trial for all kinds of extraordinary things that you would never have the opportunity to even do or get away with. Now, let me just put this up here really quickly. Really quickly. When she founded the unconventional blood testing company Theranos in 2003, I was relieved to see a woman, this is the article I just put up, finally benefit from the hyperbole that dominates venture investing. A world I worked in for 9 years total. Why shouldn't a woman show the same single-minded confidence that her male peers did. By 2015, Ms. Holmes raised more than $400 million in financing, and Theranos was valued at $9 billion. I'm going to tell y'all in a minute why that is so outrageous. At last, I thought, a charismatic woman with a compelling vision, actually able to raise huge amounts of funding at astronomical valuations. But after Theranos, after it was revealed that Theranos was not transparent with its blood testing equipment, and its blood testing equipment failed, it became clear that the company would be the exception that proves the rule that tech chief executives rarely face the full consequences of the harm they cause. Now, what they're saying is, well, hold on a second. Why is she facing all this when we have people, and we're going to get into him too, the WeWork founder and all these people? How the woman facing this and he not facing this? I want you to keep in mind that if you got women saying, I'm not treated fairly in Silicon Valley and with money, that men get to do things that I don't get to do, I want you to understand what that means for you. Now let's go into who she was, because we're talking about bad and worse. We're talking about worse and worse. That's what we're talking about. So let's just go a little bit down into who she was, and I got somebody good who I want to compare her to, or bad, whichever way you want to talk about this here thing. So let me just bring this up for just 1 second, because this was a great article. If you ain't had a chance to read this article, it is hilarious. We're just gonna go through it really. We're not gonna take too long. Now I want you to pay close attention to this, because they say this is the trick they always pull on us. They always say, "Oh, my family ain't have no money. We just use what we had." Her family was. We're talking about Elizabeth Holmes here, because we're gonna go through what she did and what she's compared to. Then we're gonna bring it all the way back to us. Put a pin in it. Stay right there. Bill Gates. Her family wasn't well off. We're gonna get to that Bill Gates in a thing. You know, they were just talking about billionaires, so don't get too caught up in that part. Her family wasn't that well connected, but one of her childhood friends was the daughter of Tim Draper, the venture capitalist, currently in the news for his holdings in Bitcoin and for spending millions of dollars in an attempt to split California into 3 states. Well, he's cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. But let me ask y'all something. How many of y'all raise your hands if one of your childhood friends has a parent who is a venture capitalist? If you in there, raise your hands if you are a unicorn and you have a childhood friend who had a father who was a venture capitalist. See, that's what they say. Well, I had nothing when I started. I started with a toothbrush and a water gun. They never tell you about the people around them who had things that you will never have access to. That's called social capital, you understand. They don't talk about that. They don't talk about all these scams they stay running. They don't talk about that. I have no conversation about that. Now let's go on to this next little part. So what she gave was an idea. That's all they need is an idea. No monies, no nothing. I had an idea. Hold on 1 second. Let me get this, because I got to get back to where I was. I had myself a good idea. For an arm patch that would simultaneously diagnose medical conditions and treat them, a notion that led to blood testing system she referred to as an iPod of healthcare, because they say she tried to dress like Steve Jobs. They say she tried to change her name, change her voice to where she sounded like a man. There was a lot going on right here. Draper staked it for $1 million and introduced her to his wealthy friends. Social capital. The Waltons of Walmart invested in Theranos, as did the Mexican telecom, Carlos Slim, out of Mexico. He invested. They was all on board. The billionaire Carlos Slim, Betsy DeVos, you remember her, the Secretary of Education, who didn't know anything about education? Y'all remember her? The first one, she said, to own multiple mega yachts. Rupert Murdoch went in for $125 million. Ooh, got to be all right. Theranos grew to 800 employees with headquarters in the right part of Palo Alto, on land owned by Stanford. That's what she dropped out of. Now, they won't let us be college. They said, well, you got to stay in school. I don't know what's wrong with you. You don't want to stay in school. You stay in school, you're going to be all right. All these people be dropouts. See, that's part of the pattern matching. Find us a dropout. We just want, these people are not creative at all. The pattern is, find me another Zuckerberg. He dropped out and he wore a hoodie. Find me another little white guy who dropped up wearing a hoodie. Oh, you know what? It's me too. It's me too. Find me a woman. Find me a white woman who dropped out. Dropped out of Stanford. Okay. It don't matter if she don't got no kind of medical background. You will make us have all kind of stuff. Listen, we have to pass all kind of stuff before we come into a job. Did you go? You passed your P test. You took the other test. Did you get in? Did you take all the tests you were supposed to take? Yeah, I took all the tests I was supposed to take. Well, okay. Well, now you gotta. Did you do the written part of the assignment? Written part. What I look like? We got a written part? Yes, there's another kind of aptitude test that we kind of have expectations of you taking. And we got the background check. We got to do the background check too. And if everything checks out, then you're strong in the running for a job there. Malik, Mary, Shaniqua, then you in there. See, yeah, the problem is, though, that the rules is set up very differently for different people. Can't exist in a world where she can just tap into one of her childhood friends' father and then tap into a whole bunch of money that you can't tap into. That's not a fair world to live in. And I don't care who tells you different. Especially when it's all built on our plunder, our wealth. You trace that stuff back long enough, you're going to find us. And even if you didn't do nothing wrong, we still there building the country. You can't have a world like that where it's okay, where it's fair, where we get what we deserve. That's not a right scale. And anybody who tells you otherwise is trying to pick your pocket. There's a lot of people out here trying to pick pockets. Anybody who tells you otherwise is trying to pick your pocket. Don't let nobody pick your pocket. Don't let nobody pick your pocket. Let me go into something else they said about her. Because she wouldn't tell people how she had this technology. She said her technology was like the recipe for Coca-Cola. And she formed a corporate board ready to go to war with Quest and LabCorp. Henry Kissinger, Sam Nunn, who's a former senator, who had served as chairman of the Senate Armed Services Committee, George Shultz, the former Secretary of State, one of the begetters of the Bush Doctrine of preemptive war, William Perry. These are all people, military, because they thought they was going to use this stuff on the battlefield because a white woman with no medical experience, no history, no nothing told them that she had something that would make it to where you could just give a drop of your blood and do all the tests. And they said, "Ooh, well, she must be telling the truth. Ooh, she must be saying something that's all right." I believe in her. You could never got nobody to believe in you, and you could be telling the whole truth. She got contracts, family. Don't believe me? Look at it. She got all kinds of contracts. She got a wellness center open in Phoenix. Wellness centers opened in Phoenix inside Walgreens Pharmacy. She don't know nothing. She ain't proved nothing. She ain't said nothing. She ain't did nothing. But she got that open. Spent $350 million on putting Theranos clinics in its supermarkets, partnerships with drug companies, research institutes, and health insurance providers were in the works. Now she stay with me, fam. She ain't proved that she know nothing. She ain't proved that she got nothing. She said, "I'm not gonna show you this because it belongs to me. I don't gotta show you how I can do the thing that I said I think I can do." Well, you ain't gotta prove this to people. No. The goal was to perform 1 million blood tests in 2015 with Theranos devices within 5 miles of every American. All you got to do is talk a good game. Holmes would say, this is what she said about him. They said, well, how you going to, when they started trying to ask you, well, how you going to do that? How you going to, well, it's a chemistry. A chemistry is performed. Now, let me tell you something. Let me just take this off screen. Let me take it off screen for 1 second. Fam. That sounds like a lie. A chemistry is performed. If you and I were in a meeting and somebody said a chemistry is performed, we would say, Excuse me? I'm asking you how you do the stuff that people normally do. I went to the doctor for a physical not too long ago, probably about 2 months ago. They took more than a drop of blood, right, to run the test and then send your stuff back and say, you fine, everything fine, you good. And I said, praise the Lord. But hey, it takes more than a drop. They said, no, we can do all of this stuff with a drop. It is transformational. If somebody came to you and I though and said, well, it's transformational and it's proprietary, we would say, it sounds like it's a lie in there somewhere. But not these people. Nope. They ain't say none of that. They just was heaping monies on monies on monies on monies. Bam. That's a lot of monies. Let's go to the next one. Hold on, they was just heaping monies. Hold on, here we go. She said, she said it was a chemical. A chemical reaction occurs that generates a signal. A signal from the chemical interaction with the sample. Child, what kind of lie is this? Which is translated into a result, which is then reviewed by certified laboratory personnel. I ain't got no kind of proof of what you saying. I ain't got nothing. You just talking. And they had her everywhere. Then nobody had no proof none of this stuff worked. Then nobody had no science. Listen, if me and you, with our Negro sales, come out with something, most of the time it's, hey, I here have a blood sampling machine. I call it the Edison. I invented it when I was 15. And it is absolutely magnificent. All these white people look at us and say, Negro, if you don't get your charlatan butt out of my office, I will call the police. But with them, they wrote all kind of wonderful articles. This CEO is out for blood. They can't write good headlines. This woman invented a way to run 30 lab tests on only one drop of blood. Well, where's the proof at, though? You say she did. What is the proof for all this stuff y'all keep saying about this blonde-headed white woman? Now they say it wouldn't have done no good nowhere. It wasn't even no good product. You didn't say it then when she was worth all them billions. But here's why. Now she is under trial. She is in trial. Right? She is at the courtroom. Now, this is why I agree with the person who wrote the article that said, as a white woman, she's getting treated differently than the white men because white men don't even get to the courtroom. We don't even get to the money. Understand, that's the thing. We don't even get to the money. Because they pattern matching. It's the Me Too, we're going to give women a chance. We don't even get to the money. But I want to show you something else that just shows, like, you can't, listen fam, you can't live like this. I don't know what other kind of heartfelt way to say. You can't live like this when these people can be this crazy and this stupid. Just stupid. He walking around, this man, I saw pictures of this man walking around WeWork, the WeWork CEO. He walking around New York with no shoes on. I wouldn't give no money to anybody who walked around New York without shoes. You have obviously proven yourself to be in need of visiting a mental institution. Any city, anywhere, listen. But let's go into something. This is how they do get treated different. She did get what she got. And people say, oh, Yvette, are you saying that she shouldn't be in jail? No, I'm saying that some people should be in jail with her. It's some people who should be locked up with her. Not just her. No. People do this stuff. These white boys do this stuff all the time, and they all should go. Should be just her. Okay, well, what you mean? Let's go into the little WeWork man with the no shoes. Let's go into a few little things they say about him and understand why he escaped charges. In retrospect, Newman's, that's his name. That's his name, the little WeWork man. And I think this kind of comes from this book before we go into a $1 billion loser, how he tracked him down. White people always talk about you after they get you. Newman's knack for amassing billions of dollars in venture capital with no viable business model was one of the greatest scams of the 21st century. He ain't in jail nowhere though. Though the well-documented megalomania of Adam and Rebecca Newman is now largely recognized as stuff of nightmares, it worked wonders on investors with too much cash. What has Antonio told y'all about how much money white people got? Too much cash. They throwing money everywhere. I saw a little shirt that looked like a Guild and Fruit of the Loom t-shirt somebody was selling for $100 just because white people don't care. I got the money. I'll buy the shirt. The Newmans, Kabbalah devotees whose social circle circles celebrities Ashton Kutcher and celebrity villains Jared Kushner, famously injected the hand-waving language of New Age communitarianism into their business operations. Newman once mused that he envisioned WeWork as a capitalist kibbutz, because that's what he told everybody. He said, I was in a little kibbutz farm and I didn't like it because everybody got everything. Turns out that was a lie. Well, a half-truth. And a half-truth ain't never truth. As numerous reports on the company's culture have noted, he traipsed barefoot around the office. I told y'all he had no shoes on. Frat-boyously cajoling others around him to join him in tequila shots or smoking weed. Now, when we smoke, I don't do any kind of marijuana. But when our community does that, we get locked up. He gets a bunch of money. And he had social capital too. We're going to get into that. This is a problem. Frat boys cajoling others around him to join him in tequila shots or smoking weed. Rebecca, that's his wife, and she has ties to a famous person. Just look it up. That's who he married. Married social capital. Rebecca once fired someone whose energy she deemed off in order to impress investors. Newman arranged for showy displays of startup libertinism to take place in the office at a moment's notice. Community managers became experts at throwing impromptu parties that would be activated in the precise 90-second window. Jamie Dimon, y'all know who that is. Just look it up if you don't know. Or Bruce Dunleavy walked through the door. A WeWork common area with Adam. Wiedemann writes, if it was all largely a swindle, its most prominent victims were ultra wealthy. Yeah, because y'all stupid. Y'all just looking for a way to give white people some money. So what you want from me? The most enthusiastic, self-satisfied WeWork backers was SoftBank founder Masayoshi Son, who, as Wiedemann tells it, was just as legitimately off the rails as Newman. They both cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, and whom he surprisingly saw as a protege of sorts. You're not gonna find you're not gonna find no Son to be your protege. My black business friends, that's not what you're gonna find. Someone who has compared himself to Jesus and has one of the largest Twitter followers in Japan once asked his followers to tweet the saddest thing that has ever happened to them, in their lives. Then mystifyingly pledged that SoftBank would somehow strive to comfort people in sorrow. These people so full of junk. Son had made a fortune in investing early in Alibaba, China's version of Amazon, among other ventures, and for 200 days before the market crash, blah blah blah. He's a nutter butter cookie. It's little wonder then that Son and other investors had ignored how disastrous WeWork's business strategy and internal operations were. None of them bothered to plumb past Newman's bloviating assurances. Meanwhile, even as money was rolling in, Newman clung to a bizarre and unsustainable business model in which he penny pinched on certain expenses. He directed staff to manage the nickel or find small ways to save company money, like turning off lights at night, while bleeding money elsewhere. Buying, for instance, a $60 million private jet. Well, that's for him. See, you can't tell him. He gonna spend his money how he want to spend his money. The cumulative effect was unsurprisingly a wide-scale burnout among employees and high turnover. Child, if these people don't stop. The whole WeWork experiment was in the end a ruling class parlor game gone awry with no significant consequences for any of the people who rolled the dice. That's how it happens every time. Ain't nothing new going on here. Every time it's going to happen that way. And every time these people are going to write it, this is a cautionary tale. This is a cautionary tale about how we have to do business differently and capitalism has to be different in America. It's not a cautionary tale how y'all have to just start throwing money at people who look like Zuckerberg and with their shoes off and long hair. It's not going to be a cautionary tale of how you might have to pay some people some money and change the way you distribute money as opposed to just, the thing we got to do is just let them work inside of these other places. That's revolutionary, ain't it, with little no shoe man? Let's go just a couple more, fam. A couple more. We gonna cut this short. Just a couple more. But not even the expendable labor pool and the unfettered access to venture capital would save WeWork from the lethal combination of the company's inability to turn a profit. A lot of companies ain't turned a profit. Y'all go look that up. A lot of companies out there that have not turned a profit. And inability to turn a profit, and Newman's personal style of derangement. He had a personal style of being crazy. Now, see, that's new to me. In the summer of 2019, after nearly 10 years of doing business, WeWork filed for an initial public offering and release Wingspan, an accompanying financial document that swiftly revealed the startup's deepest flaws. Oh, he about to get found out. Don't you know it? The report showed disturbing numbers, providing little actual information on WeWork's business strategy, and was styled at Rebecca's direction. Sorry, not discretion. She will have none. Go look up who, fam. I want somebody, if you haven't already, go look up who she is. Go look up who WeWork's. Go look up who Rebecca was. As we talk about social capital, this just kind of homework. And it was superfluous. Yeah, they love them quotes. The public Wiedemann writes seem to instantly recognize what Adams' charisma had persuaded investors to look past. The chasm between how the company presented itself and what it actually did. Hard pressed to explain what beyond extreme puffery made WeWork different from its competitors, Newman found himself the subject of a flurry of unflattering investor scrutiny. Well, it took y'all long enough. It took them long enough. Didn't it? This the man y'all was giving all your, this the little man y'all was giving all your money to? Y'all was giving money to him? That's who was flying around hot boxing jets. Him. Y'all got to stop. Listen. This country is built on this kind of unfairness. Now, we have a whole bunch of gifts that we can't ever give to the world because y'all have decided to bottom cast us. Other people, these people, have decided to pick your pocket, and you keep letting them, because every now and again you get a gold star. Every now and again you get a shooting star. Every now and again one of them works, but y'all have decided that this is the pattern that we're going to try to match. We're going to try to get, and we're going to try to recreate it every time. Y'all decided that. And when I say y'all, you know who I'm talking about. I'm talking about all of these venture capitalists. Y'all decided that we're going to give the WeWork guy, we going to give it to him. He sounds like he got good ideas. And then when he take your money and leave, it's a cautionary tale. See, this pattern matching, but we're not in the pattern. Somebody else is in the pattern. We're not in the pattern. All these little weirdo people, they the pattern. We're not there. Right? Well, I thought it might have, it's a good idea. He sounded like he was saying something all right. That was blood drop technology she had. And he, well, wait a minute, his pattern wasn't different than everybody before him, because the problem you have with something like WeWork is you have long-term rents and short-term contracts. How do you fix that? Did he fix it? No, he didn't fix it, but you know. He on trial? No, well, he got a balloon. He got a parachute to get out of there. Why he ain't on trial? Well, you know, he didn't technically do nothing illegal. Did it bother you that he didn't wear shoes? Well, I thought he's just being kind of eccentric. Okay. All right. Feel how you like. Let's go into this for 1 second, because we haven't gone deep enough. One thing the writer was right about Elizabeth Holmes versus these white men. One thing she was right about is, she found some people who should be in jail with her. They should be in jail with if Holmes go to jail, they should be in jail with her. Aha! Let's just dive a little bit deeper. Then we're going to go to the cause. Let's just dive a little bit deeper, shall we? The WeWorks Guide to Striking It Rich. Let's just look a bit. You could never, I want you to, as we talk about this, think about how nobody would ever let you perform chemistry. Or just I'm just going to rent some, I'm going to do the same thing everybody else be doing. I'm going to do it with no shoes. I'm going to smoke a lot of weed, and people going to think it's all right. Wiedemann, with whom I overlap working at the New Yorker, presents a more nuanced portrait of the founder as a young man. Newman, this WeWork guy, was born in 1979 in Beersheba, Israel, to parents who shuttled Newman and his sister around desert towns before moving to physician parents. Please hear me when I say this, because he said he just grew up in a communal. See, he just lied about who he was. He didn't tell the full story. When you don't tell the full story, you lie. He was born to physician parents. That's not the story he told. The story he told was, I was just born in a kibbutz or whatever, and I was on the farmland, and I didn't like the way they did stuff, and I preferred capitalism better. That's not what happened. Just please keep that in mind, that these people just lie like they thought. What distinguished Newman, along with his ambition, was his connection to capital, Wiedemann writes. Connection to capital. Connection to capital. How many of y'all have connection to capital? Throw a 2,500 in the chat. Wiedemann writes, we had married Rebecca Paltrow. I told y'all to look her up. A wealthy cousin of Gwyneth Paltrow and a Kabbalah devotee. Y'all see that? She invested part of a $1 million nest egg in WeWork and introduced her husband to Manhattan's Kabbalah Center. See, they get all into this social capital. That's what it is. It is social capital. After WeWork's mismanagement became apparent, public investors swiftly lost interest in the IPO, thinking a little shakeup might help. The board persuaded Newman to step down as CEO. In return for an exit package worth $1.7 billion with a B, baby, including option selling of $970 million in shares to SoftBank, Newman had leverage because he had negotiated outsized voting power. Ooh-wee! Much of Newman's exit package is at risk of evaporating after SoftBank reneged on the buyout it had promised. So he's fighting. Newman has sued SoftBank, blah, blah, blah. Even so, Newman will have squeezed hundreds of millions of dollars out of the situation. while there are plenty of losers, he can't really be said to be one of them. Let me tell you. Let me tell y'all something. Let me tell y'all something before we go on. White people out here robbing people without guns. They don't need no pistol. They don't need no. They out here robbing people without weaponry. And guess what? Unlike Holmes, he gets to walk off. Y'all are both lies and cheats and scammers. I know a scheme. When somebody give me a scheme, that's a scheme and a scam. I know what a scheme and a scam look like. That's a scam. Well, no. And the problem is that these people keep getting allowed to fail up and we keep falling down even when we have good ideas. That's a scam. That little skinny man with no shoes on should be working at the local Costco. It's just what it should. It's just what's supposed to happen. Like it's what happens when you're living in a meritocracy. That's what happens. You are working, and no offense to somebody working at the Costco, because if you one of my people working at the Costco, you probably shouldn't even be in the Costco. But him, that's the dude who should tell me what kind of oil to put in my car. Is this 10W30 or fit? What I put in? Newman, what go in the car? I just got it. What? That's what you're supposed to be able to say. You can't like that. No. And I don't think that we really understand. I don't think that we really understand what's happening here. Let me just say what he said in this book. The guy in the book wrote the book. Wiedemann writes that it is hard to figure out what lesson Adam or the other entrepreneurs of the future should learn from his rise and fall. Is it though? In fact, any future entrepreneur who hopes to get rich fast can draw a straightforward directive from Newman's experience, emulate it. More relevant is what the rest of us should learn. Emulate it. I want to bring up something really quickly because I want to say this, and I'm telling the God's honest truth. We have had a lot of black mayors get in trouble, right? We've had a lot of black mayors who got arrested. And I'm not saying they necessarily, I'm not the judge or the jury. I didn't see the evidence. I'm not saying they shouldn't have. We have our own crooks in our own community. I know that. But what happens a lot of the time, fam, is that black mayors start doing business with their friends too. And they start hooking up their friends to get more money for themselves and for their people. Everybody do that. That's the nature of the game. My whole thing is you're supposed to take care of your people while you do it. And they don't do enough of that. But doing all that other stuff is the nature of the game. But we don't get to play the game. And the people who say we don't play on a high level. On the Monopoly board, they don't play on a high level. It's a base level that they play on. It's a BS level. They play on the level of like white people laugh at them. That's the level they play on. So when you look at our black people, black politicians, because that's how they try to create wealth. I got a job. I'm the mayor of a city. I'm going to hook up my boys. Right? We had a lot of girls, but hook up my boys. We had Shirley Franklin here, and we just had, I done lost her name that quick. But you see that like even with that, and I'm not saying they're not guilty or nothing. That's not my point. My point is not that some people shouldn't be in jail. It's that other people should be in jail with them. So I want to just bring this up. Ex-mayor of Atlanta, just as an example, enrolled in drug prison program after denial of problem. Now hold on, let me just bring this up. Now I don't know if y'all remember Bill Campbell because I was in high school when he was a mayor and then college. So former Mayor Bill Campbell speaks on his legacy, future of city, and unfair probes. Okay, what happened, Bill? Now here's something Bill Campbell said that's very interesting. Campbell was marred by a years-long criminal racketeering and bribery investigation. He was ultimately acquitted on all charges. Acquitted on all charges. Acquitted on all charges. Acquitted on all charges. Now, how many of you all know that? Keisha Lance Bottoms, that's the one I missed. Yeah, you're right, y'all. I'm sorry. How many of you all know that he was acquitted? Nobody ever tells you that part. But was found guilty of tax evasion. Let me tell you what tax evasion is. Tax evasion is what they get you on. They can't find nothing else. They get the mob on tax evasion a lot. If I can't find nothing else and I want to put you in jail, I'm going to get you on tax evasion. That means the government did something that was wrong in terms of just targeting somebody. Now, it's not me saying it. It's the paper saying it. The paper saying you didn't find them guilty, but was found guilty on tax evasion of more than $160,000 income. That ain't no income. It's not enough income to find somebody guilty of tax evasion with that little amount of income. Campbell told the crowd that many people without criminal history or past pay a fine and similar conviction. He was sentenced 2 years in prison in 2006. He was released from Salvation Army halfway house in West Palm Beach, Florida on good behavior. Now, all these people I just named, I know this is a politician, but it's the same because it's all about trying to extract wealth given a situation. These other people were white and they're trying to extract wealth given a situation. He's trying to extract wealth because he's mayor, but it ain't what they've shown is that it really ain't illegal. $160,000 in tax evasion. Child, that ain't nothing. But they made sure they locked your butt up. They made sure they put you in handcuffs. The reason I say that's true about Elizabeth Holmes is that none of these white boys got put in handcuffs. Even she might not even get put in handcuffs. We don't know what she's going to get convicted or what. We don't know. But they didn't even get to go to trial. They got to keep their money and run off. But you, me, us, we try to do anything. What you doing? Where your money at? What you got going on? See, you can't exist in a world where everybody else gets to do something illegal and be just wild alley cats. They get to do whatever they want to do. You can't exist in a world. Hear me, fam, when I say this, because I mean this and I know this. You can't exist in a world. I can't exist in a world where everybody else gets to go and be reckless. Everybody else gets to go and steal and cheat. And there's no consequence. But we can't even come close to that without fear of going to prison. You cannot succeed in a world where the scales are tipped like that. It does not work. It don't work. That is the textbook definition of unfairness. They get to cheat the system, cheat investors, cheat everybody, and walk off. We get charged with all kinds of tax evasion, chased around by the government. I heard Kasim Reed's running again. The feds chased him for a long time. I don't know who's guilty or innocent. I'm saying that, like, if you get to cheat, and that's what the system is, I get to cheat too. We all gonna cheat. If it doesn't work that way, it's not fair for me. And that's what happens in real business. See, some of y'all are watching people who are self-employed. And there's nothing wrong with self-employment at all. I'm not knocking it. What I'm saying is that they're not high-level entrepreneurs. They don't know enough to tell you that, like, this is the level. Because that's the level we want to be on. I don't want to be on the level of crowdfunding every project. That's a bum level to be on. I don't want to be on the level of selling flashcards. That's a bum level to stay on. I would want to be on the level as a business person where I am getting multi-million dollars from investors. I'm a billionaire level entrepreneur. That's the level you're supposed to be on in America. Don't listen to bums. They don't know anything in terms of business. They know begging. Begging ain't business. Even when these people went and got money from business people, they weren't begging. They would say, I have a drop of blood that can be used to make a bunch of drops of the WeWork guy would say, I have all these leases and I'm gonna chop them up and give them to different people. And that's what's going. That's who That's the level, because that's your level of competition. If you are a business person, a real business person, not one of these little people over here talking about they're going to crowdfund something. If you are a real business person, that's your level. That's who you got to compete against. And all these people who are talking trash, they're not going to be able to help you when you come up against the realness of the industry and the realness of white America and the realness of white entrepreneurship and the realness of white venture capital. I have talked to people who have come up against that. And they will tell you what that looks like. They laugh at all these other people who claim to be business people because they know what it really looks like as a black entrepreneur, as an ADOS entrepreneur, to run up against this stuff in Palo Alto. This other stuff ain't business. And we have to understand that we can't be put in a position where we have to play by the rules, right? They got a bunch of people. They get the contractors. When they get these mayors, they get the contractors too. We got to understand that we can't be in a system where we have to play by the rules, but nobody else does. That's a setup for failure. Wait a minute. I got to play by all the rules. I got to do everything right. I got to be right. I got to be on point all the time. But he got a parachute. He scammed all of y'all. Wait a minute. He ain't made a profit. How long he been here? He ain't made no profit. He's scamming all of y'all. Real ADOS business people cannot compete with that. Scales are tipped. Hustlers can compete. Hustlers don't compete. They just beg for money from you. Give me some money. I'm gonna do X, Y, and Z. Give me some money. I'm gonna do X, Y, and Z. We're talking about real business here at a complex level. That's what we need our people to be at. I don't need you to sell me flashcards. I don't need you to sell me a dream. I don't need you to sell me a DVD. Right? DVDs are fine. We were trying to make, I don't have any problem making an ADOS one. But like, I understand that that's not the level. That's not real business. That's me trying to do, or the org trying to do something that's good and beneficial that we can send out to people. Not business. That's not business. Some of y'all have been involved in theft. Your money taken away from you. It's all right. We're going to help you as best we can. We'll do what we can. We can't do everything. Where did my little thing go ahead up on the screen? My goodness. Oh, hold on. Oh, okay. See, I want to end with this, fam. You can't outwork. Let me take this off the screen. You cannot outwork a crooked system. Please hear me when I say this. I'm not trying to be mean. I'm not trying to make some of y'all feel away. I want y'all, listen, I want you to win. Don't say, oh, Yvette don't like business. No, I want you to win. What I want to do, though, is put you in a position to have the capital and the rules and the support to win. That doesn't happen, though, without changing the system, because the system has its hand on the scale. And when you do your business, the system is like this. Just pulling you down. And the system is giving these other people little rocket boosters, pulling them up. All I'm saying, fam, is I want you to win. I want you to be successful. But we have to have collective uplift and collective politics targeted for you to be successful as a business person. That's all I'm saying. I've never said that you can't do ADOS business, black business. I've just said that black business comes with black politics. That's all I said. Those two things go together. And I need you to understand that. I need you to not take advice from people who crowdfund. Don't take advice from people who sell flashcards. They don't know real business. Real business is done at a very high level that they have never engaged and are not competent to talk about. That's all I'm saying. And it's going to be more work. We have a lot to do, those ADOS business owners who are watching this show, to get you in a position where you can compete with pattern matching. Because pattern matching goes and finds a certain race of person with a certain pattern in life, Ivy League college dropout, and says we want to pick that person. We have to find a pattern for you, a way for you to plug into that system. That's what I'm saying. That's it. You can't outwork a system when there's like a maze for us and a pot of gold for somebody else for the same stuff or better stuff. So that's all I'm trying to say. And I think this really brings it home when you see both people, WeWork guy and Elizabeth Holmes, connected to capital, connected to whiteness, got to get all that money. Now she got to go to court, might get off, might not. He got to walk. What does that leave for you, ADOS business owner? What's left on the table for you? That's what we got to talk about. And that's what nobody wants. I don't even want to say nobody wants to talk about it. I say nobody is competent enough to talk about it. Not publicly, for the most part. Right? So I'm going to leave it there, fam. I'm going to go to the calls. We can talk about it. We can have the conversation. You know I want to have a conversation. But I think we just got to be honest about where we are and what our capacities are. And kind of who we hope to lead us out of where we are. Right? And what does collective uplift look like where we are? So anyway, fam, give me a few minutes. As usual, I'll set up the phones. I'll be back. And then we're going to give ourselves a few minutes to set up, to have the conversation, and then we'll be out. All right? What's going on, fam? I'm going to try to keep the calls to a minimum tonight because I know I got started late because I had technical problems. Oh, technical stuff is such an annoying thing. Anyway, so I am going to start by, oh, wait a minute. And y'all still got to help me with this phone thing. It's still coming in low or high, and I'm trying to tweak. I tweaked something last time that worked, and I didn't write it down. Ain't that some stuff? Anyway, so y'all gotta let me know. Anyway, I'm going to my first caller. Hold on 1 second, please. I'm going to and let me know if I sounded okay tonight too, because I changed that too. I'm going to 256. 256. What's your name? Where you calling from? What's on your mind?
Hey man, it's the political guy Trey Slay. How you doing?
Pretty good. How you doing, fam?
I'm doing all right. Glad to see you back.
Thank you.
But yeah, just to talk about tonight's show, I'm glad you did it so that people who call themselves black business people can understand how far behind we are, how much we lack in capital. I'm self-employed. I do hair.
Uh-huh.
So, just understanding, like, those people had billions of dollars under their belt, you know what I'm saying, with no product, nothing to show. And, like, when we go out and have business plans and have all of our stuff, all of our ducks in a row, like, we can't even get $50,000, you know what I'm saying,
Nope.
to invest in us. And it's just crazy to see how capital is being thrown at them. And, like, we don't even have that type of capital in our entire community.
Yeah, for nothing. Like, imagine capital getting thrown at somebody for nothing. Like, it's not like you invented something wild and it's like, wow, this person is awesome. Like, shoot, I'm gonna throw some. Like, they don't even, like, she didn't even show people. Like, she didn't even show people what she did. Child.
Yeah, there was no proof of concept.
No, there you go, proof of concept,
like,
fam.
She just came in and was like, I can take a drop of blood and do all the tests that it takes, 8 ounces of blood to do. And people are like, okay, cool, well, here's all the money to do that.
She came in and said, she came in and said, I'm a witch. That's what she came in and said. She came in and said, I'm a witch. If you can do all that with a drop of blood, you a witch.
Right. Yeah, it's just crazy to see venture capital and how we lack so much capital and we can't get, like, black business people to understand, like, just opening a business, quote unquote, selling t-shirts, selling candles, selling whatever you do is not really business. Like, that's small scale. Like, we have to get into those production, owning the means of production lines and things of that nature. So, I'm just going to let somebody else get on the call because, I can talk all day. So
appreciate you, fam.
you being back.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you. Thank you, fam.
No problem.
I'm telling y'all, she a witch. I can do a lot with a drop of blood, child. I'm gonna go find me a cross and some garlic is for vampires. It's got to be something for witches. I'm going to 469. 469. What's your name? Where you calling from? What's on your mind?
Hey, man, my name is Troy. I'm calling from Dallas. I'm glad to have you back on the air.
Hey, fam, how you doing?
Hey, I'm doing all right. About yourself?
Pretty good. Can't complain about nothing. I woke up with a song in my heart and a boot on my foot. So now.
Well, hey, I just wanted to talk about these people with all of this connection to unlimited pools of dark money that they have set up the infrastructure to where they legally don't have to tell us, and they can get unlimited funds from places and tell us that, oh, it's anti-competitive and legally keep everybody in the dark. And you got creatures of Wall Street like Jeff Bezos and all these people from this ilk that they have basically rubbed across the Asian tech companies, and they see that those companies they don't care about, quarterly profits like we do. They've got longer vision. And so these companies they can sit up here and say, okay, we can set up a company that won't be profitable for 20, 30, 40 years. But along the way, we're gathering all this data, all this AI on people and selling them back in and creating a whole new market, which is a whole new revenue stream out of nowhere. Because 20 years ago, people weren't talking about selling big data, but now all of a sudden it pretty much drives all of our commerce. So, these people are using economics as a form of social engineering, and we're just sort of kept out of it. And like you can be a certain kind of a person, you look a certain kind of a way. And I work in corporate America, and I see the people that look a certain kind of a way get passed up, and even though I'm in my mid-30s, I'm at my glass ceiling. And somebody else can come in that can be the right matching, and can get fast tracked, and they can be my management and mess what I've worked over a decade to accumulate, and having to stay in place and walk my thin line. And
wow.
they've just been kind of fast track ahead of me just because of they look the right kind of a way, and they've got the image.
I got that social capital. I got that social capital, right?
Right, because on the opposite end, they have the image to be matched in their position, but what position is our image match for us to be in? And a lot of the times, they're looking at us like, okay, if you even make it that high, they'll just treat you like a charity case. Oh, I want to use your story, and I want to know about, how you overcame adversity. Why can't I just be, just someone who worked and got here as a black person?
Or the difference, fam. Or the difference, fam. They'll tell you, well, we want you to go out at our annual meeting and tell people how we helped you and took you out to get up. We want you to tell your story to be our diversity story at our annual meeting.
Yes. You pretty much, as opposed to being talent, you're treated like entertainment talent, like an extra in the movie that they're trying to film, like a Lifetime movie, basically.
Yep. And you get beat on, and that's the Lifetime movie. Don't y'all mess with me. They get beat on all the time. But yeah, I agree with you, fam. Go back. They under the bed. They running down the steps. They bleeding. Don't hit me again. Yep.
And you just there just to take the whooping and just to always be helpful and come in and say something impactful and be like, man, that's the soul of the team right there.
Mm-hmm.
And even and I'll say this, I'll end on this. Our last Christmas thing at our, since we've been working remotely, it's all weird. They try to do Christmas parties over the computer and all this stuff. It's a whole weird vibe. But our manager was tasked with giving each of us on our team, highlighting our recognition. And I'm the only black guy on my team, basically. But the only thing that he could say, every other guy got credited on there, how they contributed, their work performance, how they helped out in a hard time. And the only thing that I got contributed for was that I have a nice radio voice.
I'm sorry, fam. I'm sorry. That's so awful. That's some awful stuff.
And it's just a slap in the face. It's just like, man, I work hard, but this is what I'm recognized for.
Yeah. This is how they look at you, though. Oh, he sound like we gotta have him at the Christmas party. He got a nice voice. Wait a minute, I do a whole job here and I do it well, and you don't want to commend me for it. Like, that's how you see us, though. You see us as just musicians, and musicians are wonderful because we've created a lot of stuff, and DJs are wonderful too. But that's how you see me, right? That's how you see me, as just a voice. You don't see my contribution. That's racism. When you don't see all of a person and you only see a small segment of one of the gifts they got, you don't see everything. That's racism. Racism ain't just going outside and calling somebody N-word. White people got it confused. It's when you don't see the wholeness of a person and their contributions. That's part of it too.
Yep.
Crazy people. Thank you, fam.
I wanted to contribute. Thank you for taking my call.
No, I appreciate you. Thank you, fam. I appreciate you for calling in. Let's go to our next call, fam. You got a nice voice. You got a peanut head too. Let me go to my next call. I'm going to 7. No. Hold on. That's not the right one. I am going to 662. 662. What's your name? Where you calling from? And what is on your mind?
Hello?
Hey, fam. What's going on?
Hey, Yvette. This is Sean from Mississippi, but by way of Miami. What I wanted to say is the simple fact that I recently sold the business in Miami. I was in import and export auto vehicles, and the thing that we have to really understand is that you have industries that are entirely controlled by for me, for example, everything ran through a Cuban in the industry that I was in, and I had to sell my business to actually
avoid bankruptcy, right? So my thing is that, you know, we have to understand that we have to, when it comes to, like you said earlier about big business moves when a whole community have control of every sector there is. Because when I got down there, I had, like, far as insurance, you know, funding and banks and, you know, laws and regulations and licensing and all that. I had to go through a Cuban for everything. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And the simple fact that, you know, that when it comes to those type of things, you have to go through those avenues to actually get business. And it got to the point when, you know, I couldn't make the moves that I wanted to make, and I actually had to sell my business, you know, just to get out of it and to save my neck. But at the end of the day, is that the simple fact is that when you have those type of relationships, those relationships depends on not only the type of money that you have, but it also depends on your last name. You know, you try to go through the banks and you try to go through everything else in those industries. It goes by your net worth, you know, your last name, and all of that. You know what I'm saying? And then the true business, they got the banks, they got the attorneys, they got everybody on their side to actually go after anybody that comes after them, you know? And then, you know, recently in Miami, there was a tech industry that's moving into that area, and they was having a Twitter chat. And the first thing you saw that came up was Mayor Suarez out of Miami got on the Twitter feed and said, "Hey, what do you need? What kind of money do you want?" So we got to understand, you know, as ADOS, is that this you know, as far as entrepreneurship and businesses and things like that, it's a you know, dichotomy of all the moving parts that comes into play.
Well, hold on 1 second, fam. Hold on 1 second, fam. You said Mayor Suarez. Mayor. That's a politician. I just want everybody to take note of that. But go on. I'm sorry.
That's a politician, right? So when the tech, there's several tech firms that's moving out of Silicon Valley and they're coming to Miami because they want to take advantage of the state tax cuts. You know, in Florida you pay no state tax. And when they was on Twitter, Mayor Suarez came in on their Twitter feed and said, "What do you need? What kind of money do you need? Do you need capital? How can we help?" Basically. So what I'm saying is that government plays a big part in how entrepreneurship moves in this country. Don't think that it doesn't, because it does. And then, like I said earlier, you know, you got to have the banks by your side. You have to have the attorneys by your side. You have to have the licenses and regulations. You have to have all of that going for you, because if you don't, you'll end up in a position that I was in, where I had to sell my business to avoid bankruptcy. Because you have to have all those moving parts come together to keep you afloat. You know, and that's just on the small level. You know what I'm saying? And then you have to also, cut through all the cons and all the shiestiness of people that's trying to come out and get you. So that's where you have to have your legal representation to keep those things away from you. I had to avoid all of that just to get out of bankruptcy. So all I'm trying to say is that when you're playing this game, don't think that you can just go out single-handedly as one individual and crush the competition, because if you don't have those moving parts working alongside you, the competition gonna crush you. Push you out of the industry real quick.
So you're saying collective uplift, fam. It sounds like what you're saying to me. We got to get the politicians. We got to get the people.
Uplift. Exactly, because like I said, when I was in the import and export, everything I had to get, like far as getting, to get the license and registrations and all of that stuff renewed, I had to go through a Cuban. To get, business loans and go through bank and finance, and I had to go through a Cuban. To get insurance and everything like that, I had to go through a Cuban. My business broker was, telling me that he would love to see more African Americans come down here and take over this industry because there's a lot of money to be made. But you know, he said he just feels sorry that you know we've been here all this time and we can't take advantage of an industry that really needs people to come in and do things right way. Because I have to deal with at that time I had to deal with crooked, you know, insurance companies and crooked, lines of credit, and I had to get an attorney and a lot of people to, you know, help me out to get me out of that situation. Thank God that I did, so I could, you know,
Well,
I
you
didn't
know,
have to file bankruptcy.
but you know something else you just said,
Go
fam.
ahead, that-
You know something else you just said that brings up something else in my mind. Part of what happens too is that you don't have, and what we need and what you needed too was like a mentor in that industry. So you kind of need someone to be able to grab you and say, "Hey, listen, I want you to be successful, but I'm going to teach you how to be successful because I have been successful here." Part of what being locked out means is that you don't have that person who grabs you and pulls you into the industry. That's part of what that means. And we don't even understand that that happens a lot in real business, where somebody says, "Hey, I'm going to take this person under the wing. I see promise in them." So even something that you might have avoided, right? If you had known you can't avoid, you won't even know how to avoid it, because a lot of stuff in business is kind of tucked away in terms of what you have to do and how you have to do it. It's tucked away, it's hidden. And if you don't have somebody in there who can say, "Come here, let me show you how, let me show you how this game works. Let me show you what this looks like. Let me show you what this industry looks like," it's so much harder.
Exactly. And again, like I say, you have to have, again, this is very important. You have to have those moving parts. You have to have the banks. You have to have the attorneys. You have to, in order to do that type of business, you have to have that along with the politicians. You have to have those. That's crucial.
And I want to thank you for calling in, fam. I appreciate you. I'm gonna let you go, but I appreciate you calling in because a lot of people don't have that knowledge and they talk. So I appreciate you calling in. Thank you, fam, so much. And let me say this: people don't even understand. People don't even understand how much attorneys cost. So, like, in addition to like this being content, you know, political content, I'm president of the ADOS Foundation, right? There's an attorney for that too. But the attorney doesn't just do stuff when you tell them to do stuff. What they will do is do stuff that you need done and then bill you. Right? So it's a bill coming in the mail and you think, I didn't tell nobody to do that. No, they got a call or they got a whatever and they took care of it. And they're going to send you the bill for it. Right? And there's no good attorney that's not like a few $100s an hour. So that's kind of what you're dealing with too. I spent an hour on this, spent 30 minutes on this. That's the cost. That's the American cost. That's money going away because that's how rich America is. That's how washed America is. And I don't even think we really understand attorneys because we'll say, "Well, how much that costs? Well, how much that is?" No, it's not about like how much is that. That's just the way it works. Like they are set up to benefit you and protect you. And that has a cost. And if somebody, they're not going to call you and be like, "Hey, we got a call from so-and-so, or we had to file this paper. Should we file it?" No, you have us set up as your attorneys. This is what we do. And I don't think people really understand that. But anyway, I'm going to my next call. I'm going to 973. What's your name? Where you calling from? What's on your mind?
How you doing, Yvette? Welcome back.
Thank you, fam. I appreciate you.
My name is Musa Al-Amin. I'm from Newark, New Jersey. And we experiencing something crazy in Newark. It's like gentrification speeded up and fast forward to a magnitude that's crazy. Homelessness is turning into what Detroit used to be. And some of the things that you touched on are the issues. Like I said, I'm a children's book author. And when you come to, even if you got the greatest ideas, what'll happen is you have to go through the political red tape to do anything, and that's a cost. And
we're all trying to function as individuals. So you have to meet every cost at every corner in order to get things done. What I realize is that's almost impossible. And the people who are in place who probably have went through that process before, the people who look like us, who are in position, what I have experienced is they haven't been receptive to new and up and coming ideas, development, and process and progress. So you'll probably have the best idea in the world, and the best thing they could do is listen to it and water it down, because they won't listen to your idea and give you credit for it. The gatekeepers. And this is where we at right now in my city. So I protest. I talk a lot about the issues. I listen to the numbers that you guys give me. I process them numbers and then equate them to the city that I live in. Right now in North, we have a $35,000 household income. $35,000 household income in the third richest state in America. 80,000 is the regular. That's what you need. 80,000 for a household to be poor. The average household income in North New Jersey is 35,000. We're 53% African American in the city, so we don't even have to guess where that bottom comes in at. Thank you for listening to me. I just wanted to.
No, appreciate you.
My name is Musa. Again.
No, I said thank you, fam. I appreciate you. Thank you, fam. I'm going to my next call. I'm going to 702. 702. What's your name? Where you calling from? What's on your mind?
Yvette, hi. It's Cal in Vegas, and
Hey.
like everyone else, happy to have you back on the air.
Thank you.
Doing your thing. Two quick hits. First of all, to follow up with the brother in Miami with the import-export business. That's the story of ADOS business in South Florida, period. They have been, because I lived down there for quite a few years back in the 90s, they have been systemically wiping out black business, to the point where people had to, black business, if there was any, was running up to Broward, and then was getting wiped out in Broward as well. You had, they started making, like, if you had like a construction company, they started tightening up the licensing requirements and the bonding and all of the things that you need to run a successful construction company. Oh, and if you're going to be in a successful construction company, you're going to have to get government contracts, and there was nobody down at City Hall who was going to make sure that you got those contracts, because you're not white, you're not Cuban.
But go back for 1 second, fam. Go back to what I said earlier, right? I said that, like,
right.
Remember the black mayors who were trying to make sure they hooked up black people with these contracts. They got prosecuted. So even when you're trying to kind of ensure that your people, get a piece of the pie, whether or not it's legally, I'm not even talking about who was included. I'm talking about the hammer comes down. So, like, even when we try to have people in place to make sure that we do get a part of the contract, the hammer comes down, and we all say, oh my God, that's awful. They was just stealing. All politicians is stealing. Remember what we saw about how they traded the stock when the COVID came out? They all doing stuff. I'm sorry, go ahead, fam.
Oh, so onto my personal thing. Besides the fact that I'm like any other black self-employed person. The work that I do barely rises to the level of being called a full-blown business. I mean, occasionally I employ people. A lot of times I'm a one-man band throughout the years. I do remember. Well, I've had a couple of things that I've tried to get off the ground, in the way of clothing and tech marketing. But there was back in 2008. I had an idea for. I saw that even before it became a popular thing, because if you think about it, drones as a toy and a hobby and a business didn't really pop off until maybe about 2015 in full scale. But back in about 2008, what I was thinking was along the lines of scaling up the size of the drones and then deploying them throughout agricultural fields to do the agricultural spraying, because up to the early 2000s, for the most part, that had been done by professional pilots, actual humans in planes flying, crop dusting. Well, those guys are getting old, and it's tough to keep those planes flying, and the future is about drones doing the same thing that those humans were. And I thought, I was thinking back in 2008, you could do a subscription service. Now, I knew I wasn't going to be able to do it. I knew I wasn't going to be able to get the money, but that didn't stop me from falling into a meeting of venture capitalists in Las Vegas in late 2008. I knew they were looking at me like a monster with three heads, but I walked amongst them and I said, this is my idea. This is what I want to do. And, I even had a name for it. And, I printed up some brochures and I left it. Of course, nobody acted on it, but it wasn't very long after that, say about 2009, 2010, that I did see where, people in the agriculture business were subscribing to people to spray their fields. So, even when you have an idea, it's about, like you said, being connected.
Well, and thank you, fam, for calling in. But the question is, what is an idea that you can't protect worth? See, that's the thing. What is an idea that you can't protect worth? See, because just like I say, rights require wealth. Your ability to protect an idea requires wealth too. Because if you can't protect it, anybody can just come along and be like, oh, that's a great idea, and just walk away with it. If you don't have the attorneys to go say, hey, I presented this to you and this guy, and he gave it to this guy, because the attorney has then become an investigator and hire investigators to figure out how this stuff moves. And you have to have copyrights, patents, and all kind of stuff, right? So I think people, one of the things that Negroes love to say, and it just gets on my nerves so bad. Well, all you gotta do is just go file the paperwork at the copyright office or the patent office. No, that's not it. We saw that back when I'm not gonna get into it, but it's not just that. If a company knows that, like, yeah, you filed it, but you don't have the money to defend it, they're going for it. This is America. Y'all don't know where y'all live? If that company doesn't think you have the money to defend what you own and what you filed the paperwork for at the patent office or at the copyright office or trademark office or whatever, they coming. They don't care about no paperwork you file. All you gotta do is just protect it. All you gotta do is have your paperwork in order. No. They will bury you and all kind of legal stuff. And then they'll sue you or countersue you. It's gonna get ugly. So I just want to thank you for calling in, fam, because, you're exactly right in terms of, like, that's how it works. And, fam, we're at midnight, so I'm going to leave it there because we got started late. I want to thank everybody who called in. But that caller was absolutely true. That's how it works. Wealth is the driver. Social capital that gives you wealth and all that stuff is another one of the drivers. It's not just about having your paperwork in order. It's not even just about having your contract in order. You can have a whole contract in order. I got the contract. I got the paperwork right here. Judge can tell you I don't care nothing about that. I don't care nothing about what you talk about. Contract, I still don't think they owe what you say they owe, and I see it differently. What you gonna do but sit in your chair and wiggle around? Ain't too much more you gonna do. What else you gonna do? You're going to just frown and poop. Nothing else you're going to do. Because you don't have the wealth to protect the thing that needs to be protected. That's why reparations matter. That's why inheritances that were plundered away from us, that's why that matters. That's why it all matters. Because people are calling up telling you, hey, I'm here in this industry and I'm not getting what I deserve, and I've been run out of this industry because I don't have the thing to be the business owner that I know I can be. That's kind of what this country has done to us. It's robbed us of our ability to give our gifts to the world. How do you not want to fight for that? How do you listen to all the people who are business people that call in and chat and tell you what's really going on, not what you think's going on because you saw some junk on YouTube? We have real people who call in and say, hey, this is how it works. This is how it all comes down. These people will make you crazy. They will have people. Y'all remember what happened to David Chappelle? Where they had people thinking he was crazy and that he ran off and did. They will have people thinking, oh, this guy's nuts. This woman is a nut job. That's what they do. They'll have people thinking, you lost your mind. You perfectly fine. Ain't nothing wrong with you. Oh, this person's been stalking our office. What? No, I came there for a meeting. Whatever. That's what happens. And if you don't understand that, you don't understand business. Certainly not in America. So I just want to thank everybody for calling in. Please, 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 please finish your libation. Please hit that like button. Please subscribe if you have not subscribed. If you want to donate, go to donatebrown.com. $ Breaking Brown Cash App. You can donate that way. Also, virtual tickets available at adosconference.com. If you all have not gotten those, please get those for that day one. Please get those adosconference.com. That is your way to do that for the virtual tickets. I'm looking forward to it. Don't pass me no COVID. I don't want none of it. I don't want to see COVID in this lifetime. Nah. I'm just playing around though. I look forward to seeing all of you all who are going to be at the conference. I'm looking forward to it. We're going to have a blast. And as usual, listen, I just look forward to being with family. That's kind of how I look at the conference now. We get, day 2 is going to be just trainings. Day 2 is not going to be broadcast except to the people that we're going to, in chapters and stuff like that will get the training. Just because people would love to just take the stuff that we do and just kind of walk off with it. But I look forward to seeing everybody. If you're going to be there, I look forward to seeing you and having fun with you and all that kind of good stuff. So please take care of that. But right now, just hit that like button. Subscribe if you have not subscribed to the channel. Hit that bell to make sure you get notifications because a lot of people are saying that they are not getting notifications, fam. And love you as always. And I will see you next time. Hopefully on time. All kind of stuff be happening. But thank you, fam. Much appreciated. Y'all be easy breezy. Finish your libation and don't bother nobody. And don't let nobody bother you.